Cadence of Hyrule is literally just Crypt of the Necrodancer with a Zelda twist. That's a fact which is acknowledged right in the game's title too, as Cadence of Hyrule's subtitle is Crypt of the Necrodancer featuring The Legend of Zelda. If by chance you've never played it before, Crypt of the Necrodancer was a 2015 indie game that very much felt like a unique rhythm-based take on the tried-and-true Zelda dungeon-delving formula. 4 years on, and that core experience is expanded upon with The Legend of Zelda in Cadence of Hyrule. Like with most Zelda games, Cadence of Hyrule has an overworld map with dungeons you have to fight through before you can defeat the big baddie and save the day. Really, at its core, this game is a stripped-down version of a classic 2D Zelda game. Helping to separate it out, though, is how both the overworld and dungeons are randomly generated. Taking a page from its roguelike predecessor, every dungeon in the game is automatically reshuffled every time you fail or get a game over. The overworld, however, has less randomization, and is only generated once, but certain locations are fixed and enemies respawn when you die. This means there's a lot of variation from one playthrough to the next. Another thing that differs from classic Zelda games is how you're not forced to go through multiple temples to fill your pack with all the iconic gear. Bow, bombs, and boomerang, everything you know and love is here, including some more obscure items seen only once in the franchise. However, you'll find most tools in small caves when you go exploring, or gain them as reward for helping out various NPCs. Speaking of exploring, heart pieces return, there are hidden grottos and caves everywhere, and it's possible to warp around the map after you find a magical loot, which rounds out the core Zelda experience. Past the traditional Zelda features, though, lies the game's unique combat and roguelike design. Every time you find yourself in an area filled with baddies, the music ramps up and you're tasked with keeping to the beat while fighting the various enemies. If you miss the beat, there's no major penalty, however, maintaining the rhythm results in a higher multiplier and nets you more diamonds whenever you clear an area. This is an important feature too, as upon death, you lose all of your rupees and basic equipment. Things like your sword and bow persist though, as well as your diamonds, which are the only way to resupply yourself of lost equipment before jumping back into the fray. Overall, the roguelike mechanics are less troublesome because you're not completely wiped of progress and possessions every time you die. Cadence of Hyrule ultimately cherry-picks mechanics from Crypt of the Necrodancer, and the result is a more forgiving experience that focuses on exploration and discovery over pure skill. Of course, with any rhythm game, a major factor is the music, and Cadence of Hyrule hits that note perfectly. Every track is easy to follow to the beat, even if you're not good at rhythm games, and the entire Zelda music library is used. I was personally surprised to hear a remix of the classic Tal Tal Heights from Link's Awakening, though with an incoming remake of that game it shouldn't be too much of a surprise. Even tracks that are less frequently remixed manage to show up with special appeal and swagger, like a smooth lounge rendition of Kakariko Village. Suffice to say, all the music here is top-notch and has a particularly Necrodancer zest and feel. The music, and keeping to its beat, does bring us to a unique and different topic though. By far, the strangest thing about Cadence of Hyrule is how, as a rhythm game, you can completely shut off the game's defining feature, the rhythm mechanic. This is a controversial thing to say the least. However, given how much the game asks you to keep track of, the ability to slow things down or take out the time pressure makes sense. Because, make no mistake, Cadence of Hyrule is not your average rhythm game. Other, more classic music-driven games focus on only one thing: pressing buttons in time with both the music and a visual cue on screen. Cadence of Hyrule, though, is much more complicated to say the least. Not only are you trying to hop around the map in time with the beat, but you're also watching enemies, trying to predict their moves and paths, and working to navigate around them to take them out while not being slashed to tiny bits yourself. To call Cadence of Hyrule a rhythm game is really only telling half the story. It's more apt to describe it as playing a game of speed chess where your moves can take no longer than 1 second apiece. There's a lot of strategy involved in moving around the board to outmaneuver the enemies. To take the chess analogy a step further though, it's like playing with a queen against a full board, and nearly all the opposing pieces don't die in one hit either. There's a lot going on, and trying to keep to the beat while doing it all adds quite a bit of extra pressure. Yet, it's still a conflicting thing to shut off the rhythm of a rhythm game, even if it's only half the mechanics. As an accessibility feature though, it's absolutely worth having, especially for those of us who aren't as musically inclined. And again, keeping to the beat is only part of everything you're trying to keep track of. At the end of the day, Cadence of Hyrule is a good game, and it's much more flexible than the original Crypt of the Necrodancer. It manages to hit all of the happy notes of a classic Zelda title, while being different and entertaining. Its music is fantastic, the art style is charming, exploring the world is fun, and even though the story is a bit generic, the overall experience is plenty enjoyable. Cadence of Hyrule, Crypt of the Necrodancer featuring The Legend of Zelda is worth playing. Your mileage may vary based on your skill with rhythm games, but even then, you can still play it with the beat off and have a plenty fun time, even if what makes the game special and memorable is the rhythm and beat itself. For that reason, it gets my recommendation. Thanks for watching and listening. I'm William Strife, and this video was paid for through viewer donations on Patreon. If you haven't already, please consider contributing so I can keep the lights on and make more videos for you to enjoy. Catch you later.